you are going to get a copy of today's recording. Now, do know you're not going to get it till tomorrow, because it takes about 24 hours, maybe even a little bit more for the system to render it, but you will get a copy of today's webinar. And I'll tell you in a minute how you can get the slides. And do know, I do not record the Q&A part. So when we do the lengthy Q&A part at the end, that is only for people who are in the live. I want to keep you nice and private, so I don't want to record that. Plus, it is the benefit of being here in real time. Okay, so let's give some shout outs here. We've got Brian is here again. Oh, in early Texas. Yes, Spirit of Texas Winery. Brian, I know I follow you on Instagram. We're always giving each other props. I love the rockers too. I can't wait to go to your location and look at the hummingbirds. We also have Lisa here. Lisa is with our ROIT Solutions. RO, so is it RO or RO? I'm curious now, but you're in Dallas. We're excited to have you here too. You talk about cloud security, very, very important. We have travel agency, Kathy, excited. Kathy, I remember you're in New Mexico. We've had Memphis, Tennessee in the house. We also, let's see, we have San Francisco. Oh, beautiful San Francisco. So excited to have you here. I have not been back in a little bit just because of the whole travel stuff, but I actually spent a lot of time in Modesto, California. I'm an Air Force brat, so I have definitely lived there near Travis Air Force Base. Anytime there's a military airlift command, I've been there across the world. Hello, Jesse. Thank you for being here. We've got Escape Travel. Kathy, that's your place. RO. All right. I got it, Lisa. ROIT. Got it. We've got Judy in Oklahoma. Hutto, Texas is here, as well as, oh yeah, Lisa, return on investment on your technology. That makes sense. All right, while everybody's finding that question box and we're gearing up, let me know on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being meh, I need more coffee. 5, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. Maria, bring it on. I'm ready to learn, ready to take notes, ready to take screenshots. 1 of 5, let me know here. Got some people at 3. Okay, if you need to run, get coffee. Now's the time. You got 1 minute to do that. I'm recording. Let me see who else. Okay, we got a lot of 5s. Ready to go, ready to go, ready to go. All right, let's go. Oh, time change. I understand that. That's a beast, right? That was really tough on Sunday morning. All right, let's talk about how we can make our website work for you. Okay, I'm glad you're finding that question box, everybody. Today, anything that you need, you can go to this URL right here you see in front of you, the grow.google/smallbusinesses. You can also use the hashtag if you're tweeting or posting. And the reason you'd like to do that is because it lets all of your contacts know that you're leveling up your skills, but it also lets the Google team know that this matters to you. And I like that because I like the Google team making more like this available, 100% free, and then also utilizing everything that's 100% free. So everything that I'm talking about today is free. You have this available to you through your free Gmail account or free Google account. You don't have to have a Gmail account, and you don't have to have Google Workspace or Google Suite, which was what it was formerly called. You can just do this with your free personal Gmail or free personal Google account. I'll show you how to do that if you don't have one, but you don't have to have a Gmail account. You can have your own email, okay? I'm just going to show you how you can access it if you'd like to access it. Again, if you need closed captioning, real captioning happening in real time from Crystal, just go here to this link. Thought they stopped Google Analytics. Oh no, Google Analytics is strong, strong, strong. So we'll talk about more of that. And you need that really, Kathy, because Google Analytics tells you how people shop your site. And you know, personalization and understanding your customers, that's our strength as small businesses. Your strength is you can be an expert in your customer. You're closer to them, you're more belly to belly, you can have that conversation, you understand your brand voice already, so you're not having to try to create that like some of the big dogs are having to do, and they're really taking a long time to make that pivot because they don't know the words and personally know their customers. You have that advantage. Being nimble is something that we as small businesses excel at. So if you are tweeting, you can use this at Maria Duron to find me there. I am active, very active on Twitter. I'm in charge of an entire Twitter community, so feel free to find me there. Or also, if you use the hashtag Grow with Google, and I'm happy to retweet you out. Or on Instagram, you can find me here. Right, Brian? You've seen me on Instagram before. Happy to share you on my stories or to repost whatever you're sharing. So feel free to do that. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm so glad that everybody is finding everything that they need to hear. Let's dive in and really get some things and some best practices here to you to start using and growing your business. We know people are going online. You know, your website is the new storefront. That changed in March 2020. If it was something that maybe you were looking at doing, you did it. And you may have done so quickly that you haven't had a chance to really look and see how your site's performing. And maybe you've needed to upgrade some things. Maybe you really need to understand how your customers are shopping so you can customize that experience for them and make it easier to buy from you. So what is web design? A lot of people think it's just graphic designs, colors, and layouts. That's all they think. But there's a whole psychology to web design. There is not just the fonts that you're using, but taking a look at the layout, making sure you know and really meet the customer in their journey and their decision path. That's something that only you can be an expert on. And that is what we are going to be talking about today, as well as some of the things that you see physically that happen on a website. But even your layout, your information architecture, your IA, which is the layout of a website, will help you determine and make it seamless for customers, for them to feel like this shopping experience is built just for them. So today we'll talk about how important it is for your website to be goal-oriented. This is key. If you don't know what you're shooting for, you cannot adjust and you cannot measure to meet it. You'll see, that's my favorite saying. You see it right up here. Where is that? So I can see it right up here. You see a piece of it, but it's if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. $1 or 1 minute spent that doesn't lift the bottom line or bring you closer to your goals is $1 or 1 minute spent too much. I know all the socials are free, but understand your time is more valuable than money. We all only have 86,400 seconds in any given day, no more, no less. And you don't ever make that back. So it really is more valuable than money. Not just time is money, it's more valuable. And your time on social, if it doesn't show that you're lifting, if you don't know whether or not any of the social networks are actually driving traffic to your site, do they go back to it for social proof? Is it the last place they go before they buy or before they do something? Now understand, you're going to hear me say the word buy a lot because I come from an e-commerce background. But do know that when I say buy, I mean convert. And a conversion action is anything that you deem successful on your site. It could be they download a PDF, they fill out a form, they click through, they schedule a meeting, they schedule a Calendly update, so actually an appointment with you, they call you. It could be any of those events. They become a supporter, a volunteer, they make a donation. It could be that they read a blog post that you want them to click through to. Whatever you deem as successful, that is a conversion action on your site. You're going to hear me refer to it as buy. Do understand I mean conversion action. Also know that your website has to be search friendly. If the search engines, and Google being the #1 search engine in the world, cannot see you and cannot find you, then people don't know you exist. And if they don't know you exist, they can't do business with you. It has to be convenient for them. There are way too many competitors to go down the line and see somebody else next in a search result because it's taking too long or it's too cumbersome to get around your site. There's a pop-up covering everything, and we can't exit out of that in this 4.5-inch screen. It has to be organized. The biggest complaint for people about why they leave a website is because it's too disorganized and cluttered. And I have been there before as a small business. You're so excited, you have a new product, a new service, you have something you want to share, and so you put it on your site, and you end up making the home page of your site your virtual or visual junk drawer. And now people are confused on where to go and what to look at. Or you post on Facebook or Instagram, or maybe even TikTok, your profile link sends them to the beginning of your site. But you were talking about the tomato recipe, this amazing tomato recipe, and now they have to search your site because you're talking about the kind of plants you have, the kind of ways you grow them, different recipes, but they don't see the specific recipe, the call to action that you sent them from social to your site. They've got to search, they're going to leave. So we need it to be organized, and it also has to be trustworthy. There are too many sites out there right now looking for information, especially payment information. And if your site doesn't look right, like for example, the photos on your site aren't uniform, it looks a little bit off, things aren't really balanced on your site, people will often look at that as that's not a credible site, and they won't put their credit card information in there if those are the issues too. So let me see. And my site wants, okay, so I see some questions here, but I do see Patty says she's not getting any, I think she's saying I'm not getting any sound. Is everybody else hearing sound? I just want to make sure that I'm not been talking to myself. Confirm. Okay, thank you, Jesse, Kathy, thank you. All right, let's see. Where is it here? Let me copy paste this. How to reach, how to call. Let me give this to Patty real quick. Thank you, everybody, for letting me know. All right, let me send this to Patty. There we go. So now she can know how to access it by phone, just because that's not on every slide. All right. Thank you, everybody. And again, thank you. I want to give a shout out to our Google partners before we go much further, because that is Jamestown Regional Entrepreneur Center. Catherine, thank you very much for being a wonderful Google partner and partnering with us today. And then also New Mexico Out Business Alliance. Gray is here from New Mexico. Thank you very, very much for being here. Understand our Google partners have to go through a vetting process to become partners. And then once they do that, they go to their community to find out exactly what it is that you need. They connect the dots and look for what Google has in resources. They connect with the Google team and they request a trainer, which is what I am. I'm one of the 15 national trainers. And then they make sure that you guys know this is happening. They do all the heavy lifting. And we are extremely, extremely grateful to our Google partners because they are vested in your interest and they are right there for you. So I'm very excited to have them on board. Again, it's Jamestown Regional Entrepreneur Center, Catherine, and as well as New Mexico Out Business Alliance, Gray. Thank you for being here. You're very welcome, Gray. I'm excited that your community is here and that you connected with us and that we're doing this together. So let's talk about a goal of a website being organized and goal-oriented. Your website, why does it exist? Is it to build your brand? Is it that credibility? You know, Sue, you were talking about you're a speaker, author. So it could be, is it Sue or Susan? Could you clarify for me in the question box? Because that did scroll up past to where I could see it, but I'd like to make sure I address you correctly. I know it's Sue Hamilton. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sue. Because it could be to build a brand. It could be to generate leads, and that conversion action is you want them to call or to leave a contact address, like an email address, or fill out a contact form. It could be to make sales, like we were talking about with e-commerce. It could be to re-engage customers. We know that it's super expensive to bring in new customers compared to taking a customer who already knows, likes, and trusts you, and now having them already make the decision that they do that for you and then bring in something else. You want to increase their order or be able to do more business with them. Maybe they're doing more volunteering, taking a leadership role, or increasing their donation, okay? And the L is the middle initial. Oh, okay, Sue L. Hamilton. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that clarification. It could be that you're an employer brand and you really want to showcase to bring in more team members, or it could be to provide support. We saw that a lot happen, especially as we locked down. Even plumbers were utilizing their website to explain things like this is how you can do some average maintenance or regular maintenance since we can't come out to your location. Think about what it is that is the purpose of your website and what you would deem successful. You know, what would you measure that success of your website by? Would it be that somebody would either leave off contact information, again, working like a leads form or a leads generator, or is it that you really want to elevate and showcase your brand and be able to get some good brand equity out there and people are searching for your name? Now, knowing your audience is key. I have sat across from many. You know that I've been in small business for a long, long time, and I've sat across from many small businesses who will tell me, but Maria, you know, I just have this product or service that's available worldwide, and I can serve anybody, everybody, and somebody. I just can serve anybody that fogs the mirror. And here's the thing, if you go after anybody, everybody, and somebody, you'll get their second cousin, nobody. It's too big. You do not have all the money and the time in the world to be able to reach everyone that you can reach. Think about who your best customer is. This is the customer that gives you the most pleasure and profit. Again, I'm saying customers, but it could be donor, employee, it could be supporter, volunteer. But who is that best one that gives you the most pleasure and profit? We've all worked with people who at the end of the day, we wonder if we lost money because you're always having to reconvince them or resell them or educate them, and they're really not a good fit for you or what you're planning to do. So think of the 10 best. And if you don't have customers yet, because some people in here have said that they are new in business, and that's okay, look at where people are spending money now that they would spend with you. So it could be that you're looking at a competitor or potential competitor whenever you launch your business, or it could be like when you're a restaurant, you're not only competing with other restaurants, but you're competing with movie theaters, you're competing with Netflix, a whole host of other things that are looking and vying for the entertainment dollar. The same thing with a small business or a nonprofit. Maybe you're competing with other things that could take that expendable dollar, okay? And then as you look at this and you understand who that best customer is, you really need to be that expert. Understand what their decision journey is like, because if you can help them avoid pitfalls before they actually encounter it, it actually is a halo effect that happens to you, because they realize, man, this person knows what they're talking about. They can assist and support me. And if they feel that, they will go to you for everything, because they see this credibility that you truly know your industry or your craft. Now, you may have heard these terms before of a SMART goal: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And this is crucial. Understand that every small business I've seen do it without these goals has struggled and spent way too much money, and we don't have time nor the cash flow to wait for anything. We need to make things happen now. So when we look at SMART goals, you may already have your goals for 2022 or even for Q2, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. But think about, is it SMART tested? Is it specific? Are your goals specific? Maria, I want more money. Great. $1 is more money. Is that all you want? Or does more money mean more? What's measurable there? Again, that's the second one, measurable. You've heard me say this before, and if you walk away with anything from our time together today, it's that if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. $1, 1 minute spent on something that's not lifting the bottom line or bringing you closer to your goal is $1 or 1 minute spent too much. Is it attainable? Maria, I want to make $1 million this quarter. Wonderful. You made 100,000 last quarter. You want to make $1 million this quarter. What are you going to do to make the $900,000 difference? What is it different that you're going to do? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing the same way and expecting different results. Is it relevant? I want more Facebook likes. Well, great. We all like more Facebook likes. It's sometimes a popularity contest, but sometimes it's also what's known as a vanity metric, and that it makes us feel good, but it really does nothing to lift the bottom line or bring us closer to our goal. So how is that relevant? Well, if you can sit there and say, well, Maria, when people like my Facebook post, that means that of those who like, about 10% come over. So if I have 100 people like my post, 10 of them will go to my site. They'll click through. Of the 10 that go to my site, I know they're really in there and they're really like to, they really like to do business with me. So of that, 8 of them will leave off their contact information, or 8 will buy. So that's pretty good knowing that. Now I can say that's a relevant factor, because if you can quantify, and the only way you can quantify is by giving something to measure there, which means that every single one of your posts on social needs to have a CTA, call to action. Buy, read, download, leave off your information, email. Some of those call to actions, it needs to have that, because that makes it measurable. If you aren't getting any results from social, and it could be that you're just seeing those numbers, but maybe you don't have a good call to action. So maybe that's step 1. And do know, I want to hear what you're adding to your list, because I do know when you do put that here in the question box, you're more likely to add it to your to-do list and get it done. And today's just not entertaining or entertraining. You actually are applying something to grow your business. And I love to hear that harvest. So again, SMART is really important. And is it timely? Maria, I want to make more money. Okay, so I'm 99 years old now. I've gone 60 years. Am I really time bound by that? So again, SMART test all of your goals. All 5 are important. You miss one, you're off the charts then on being able to get where you need to go in the timely fashion. You have to SMART test and have all 5. So know how you'll measure success. Is it online sales? Is it people putting in their information for contacts or phone calls? What is it that you see as success on your site? And then also do link with Google Analytics. So Kathy, yes. Work on call to actions. Exactly, Brian. I understand that. A lot of us are really good at posting, and I love your post, but what is that call to action that's going to help you measure whether or not that social network is something that's performing for you, and if the people there are the right customers for you too? right? Because we all, at the end of the day, have to make sure our business is growing. So as you look at Google Analytics, this is a tool, I should say, that is one of the tools that I say anybody with a website has to have, because you need to know how people shop your site. If you don't know this, how can you make changes? For example, let's say if we were in a physical store and all morning long people go into aisle 1 and aisle 3 and then they leave. They buy nothing. Aisle 1, 3. They just keep leaving. And then in the afternoon, people start going from aisle 1 to aisle 4, back to aisle 3, and now they buy something. We're just seeing that happen. I would want to know, is it the afternoon customer? Is there something on aisle 4 that is encouraging them to buy what's on aisle 3? I would like to know that, and do make sure that I lay things out to make it easier for them to buy from me. There should not be any frictionless, right? So as we look at this, Google Analytics actually helps you do that. And do understand that there's been some changes to Google Analytics. So I actually encourage you to use 2 different kinds of analytics in Google. And there are 2 different types. So we'll talk about that in a moment. So if you go to g.co/analytics, let me highlight that here with my little pointer. So if you go here, and you're already logged into your free Google account or your free Gmail account, then all you need to do is refresh your browser and this will open up for you. It will remember your credentials, okay? And if you don't have a Google account, you'll go to google.com/accounts, google.com/accounts, plural, and you will put in your current email address. It doesn't change it to Gmail. You will create a password, and like any other password protected site online, this is how you access the free tools. Again, you are going to set up and connect your website property. Now, here's a little hint. Google has a bunch of free tools that you can use to help grow your business. A lot of things that sometimes I see people, sad business owners, who realize they paid lots of money for something that's absolutely free on Google, and they didn't realize there's a tool like that, or they're paying somebody to manage it, but they're not realizing there's no cost to the tool. So understand, when you connect your website property first, and this is the one I always encourage you to start with first, because when you connect it, what happens is Google starts seeing that you are a credible business, because not only have you put your website out there and maybe your information in your Google business profile, but maybe you also have connected your analytics. You see, Google's the #1 search engine in the world for a reason, because when people go there, they find the right information. How does Google get the right information? It's directly from you, the business owners. So when you have your Google business profile and you connect Google Analytics, now all confirming to Google through Google tools that are credible, wow, this information is correct. We're seeing the same thing. They're saying their hours of operation are here. They're saying this is the business owner here. But then also you connect your YouTube channel, which YouTube is also owned by Google. It's the #2 search engine in the world. And it's also the #2 social network. And it's actually #1. YouTube is still #1 even compared to TikTok. TikTok's close on its heels for video watching, but YouTube has the ability, because it's a search engine and it has everlasting or evergreen content. It really does link well, and it confirms again with Google your information is correct. Now you put Google Merchant Center, Google Search Console, you add in Google Lens, and now you add in Google Ads, and all of those together confirm to Google that you do need to show up high in search because you're credible information, okay? So do know Google Analytics is important from that standpoint to connect and verify, but it's also important because now it gives you the insight to search and know what people are doing. And you heard me say that a moment ago, there are 2 different Google Analytics available right now. You have Universal Analytics, which happened before October 2020. You may have signed up with Universal Analytics, but there's also Google Analytics 4, GA4. There are 2 different kinds. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people, and by default, if you sign up for Google Analytics now, it will be 100% GA4, but I do know how, and I can show you how you can also have Universal Analytics, and I actually like both because I do come from an e-commerce background. I like to confirm both data, and so I do have both running on all the sites. You can do that as well, or you can just do one. Google Analytics 4 now is very robust. It wasn't in early 2020, but it is now, and so because it is now, you can really just go with that option, okay? Let me see if there's some questions as we go through here, but I'm gonna run into analytics in a minute, but you'll see on your screen how you can set up GA4 if you need to. That's something you might wanna screenshot. And if you want a copy of today's slides, do make sure you're making a comment in the question box, because you'll get a copy of today's slides as well as the recording tomorrow. let's see. Let's see, I just received an email, Google Search Console. Absolutely, you want to connect that. Google Search Console gives you insight into the health of your website. How well is the search engine seeing you? Because you do need to know that. Okay, actions on social. Okay, got it, everybody. Oops. See, this is the only thing. Forgive me for a moment. Let me scroll down here because the let me see, because the question box is only 8-point font, no matter what how big I make it. But there we go. All right, perfect. Copy the slide. Absolutely, you will definitely do that. Plus, you'll get a recording from today and slow me down, speed me up, review whatever you need to. You'll get that, but it won't be till tomorrow because it takes about 24 hours or more to render. Okay. So how you hook that up, Sue, is you will go to Google Analytics. Let me go back to that slide. Oops, let me click right here. There we go. There we go. It's moving for me now. You'll go right here, Sue. So if you want to screenshot that, I'll get my pointer out of the way. But it's g.co/analytics, and it'll start walking you through. Do make sure you're logged into your free Google account or your Gmail account, either or, but it will remember your credentials, and then you can start here. And it's pretty intuitive. It'll walk you through what happens next. Okay, good question, Sue. All right. So as you set this up, these are some of the things that you can see in Google Analytics. And we have an entire webinar. I'm not going to get into great detail in analytics, but we have an entire webinar called Make Better Business Decisions with Analytics. So Gray or Catherine, if you're interested in that webinar, just let us know. We're happy to bring that to you and present that for you if you'd like. But you can see what's happening in real time. For example, let's say I just sent an email out or I did a post on social and I want to see if my call to action is working. So I might go into Google Analytics in real time and see that happen. I was working with a brand that had a launch that actually showed in the Today Show. It was one of the featured must-haves for the fall in the Today Show. So we could see as the Today Show aired from the East Coast all the way across the US to the West Coast in real time, how people were logging in. And you can do that too. You can see if whatever you're promoting or your call to action really resonated in real time by looking at that in Google Analytics. You can also see what's converting on your site. Wow, this video is really going well. People are looking at it and then they're doing the next action that I want them to do. Or this isn't. They look at this and they bounce off. They go to my competitor's site. I don't want them to do that. But maybe what are they looking for in that competitor that I can learn from and provide on my site? It'll also let you know where they come from. This is one of my favorite reports in Google Analytics is acquisition, because I can look in there and say, for example, this morning I looked at a website and say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is Google Ads. It was direct search, which means people know your brand name, which means you've got great brand equity. So all of your branding is working and people are searching for you by name. But then I also see that their email marketing is working, that Pinterest was really, really strong in driving traffic and conversions, and that Facebook mobile was providing them all the conversions while Facebook desktop was just getting them looks. Okay, so now we were able to make some decisions on their time and their money because they know exactly where everything's coming from. And then also here, the behavior. I love this part of Google Analytics is watching the behavior flow. So you can actually see people and see if they came in on page, let's say you gave them a landing page to that tomato recipe I mentioned earlier. So you went to the tomato recipe, they went there, they looked around, they searched, then they went ahead and read a little bit more about growing tomatoes, then they went back and looked at another recipe. You can see that behavior in the behavior flow report, and I like that. For example, you know, there's Julie, I think, right? Julie, you have the bride. So let's say somebody comes in and they're a bridesmaid. So maybe your call to action on your socials is, if you're a bridesmaid, don't wear an ugly bridesmaid's dress. Here's three tips for you to help influence the bride, but still be a supportive bridesmaid. So you do that, they download the 3 tips. Then when they download, you say, here are some ways to recommend to the bride, or are you planning a wedding soon? So you could start seeing their behavior and then mirroring on your site what matches them. So you're not, you know, you're again seen as the expert in your field, which is really what people want to do. You're very welcome, Julie. You're welcome. All right, so we do need to know how people are converting, how they shop our site. This helps us become experts in our customer. And you'll see in Google Analytics 4, you can also see this. It's a little bit different. So behavior flow is called life cycle, and you have an idea of exactly, you know, when do people come back? Is it they make their first purchase once and then maybe 32 days later they come back and they start searching your site to make another purchase, it gives you a little bit more information like that. And you will find that I am the data geek, and I love to be that data whisperer to say, look, this is the insights or the actions and data I see happening on a site, but here's some of the actionable decisions you can make on that too, because there are some good decisions and better decisions we can make with our limited time and energy and money. So another tool that you can use that's 100% free is Google Optimize. You'll see it right here, that URL, and I will get out of the way if you want to screenshot that. But this will let you know what's working on your site, and then also test what could be working better. So maybe you're trying to figure out on your site, is it good to put this video up here? Does everybody watch this video up here, or is it better below after I put some text and put some context in there? Is that better? So now you can have this A/B testing. You may have heard people say that before, A/B test. And a lot of times you have to use an expensive tool to do some A/B testing. This is 100% free. So you can go here, and this is a tool that helps you A/B test, so your customers and your visitors are letting you know what truly matters to them on your website and what they want to see more of or less of. What do you do if it's not reading the site? Oh, if it's not reading the site, that has to do then with placement of where your actual universal analytics code is, or how you've linked the site on the view. So it has to do with placement of that, because it will read a site if it's placed in the right spot. So for universal analytics, Kathy, it could be that it needs to be in the header and the footer, and that's of every single page, not just the home page. And then with Google Analytics 4, it will actually walk you through how to link and confirm that you are the owner and confirming that it can see your site. So you do need to walk through both of those tools is what I recommend. But if you have universal analytics at the very basics, make sure that it's showing up the code, the HTML code that's in there is showing up in the header and footer. All right. So let's talk about a search-friendly site, but I do see a question here. Let me stop here for a moment. If not part of your talk today, would you please give a link explaining running both analytics? Saying UA getting some completely, if I'm understanding correctly. Ruth, let's save that to the end. Since this isn't about really Google Analytics, we do have an entire webinar, but I'll answer your question. But if you'll save it to the end, the thing is with this question box, it scrolls instantly. And once it does that, I don't get to see it again, and I might forget to come back to it. So would you do that for me, Ruth? Because I'd love to answer your question. But I am going to cover today how you can use a little bit of this. I want to help you more in depth, though, okay, if you can hang out with me at the end. All right, let's talk about the growth of people looking, right? We all look now. We want to know whether people have special hours, curbside service. We want to know if you're open, and understand if your website, if your Google business profile, so some people call that a listing, and it used to be called, before 2022, it used to be called Google My Business, but it's your Google business profile. And if that's showing different hours and they show up at your location and you're closed and it says that you're open on all these places, they're going to be mad at you, not mad at Google. So understand that's all a part of that first impression, and they are still lasting. So that hasn't changed. So as you look at your site, search yourself. I encourage you to search yourself and see exactly what comes up in a Google search. Find out what's happening. And a quick marketer's expertise tip, if you want to look and understand what the keywords people are searching without having to spend money on keywords, when you search yourself, toggle all the way bottom to the bottom of this search results, you'll see related searches. That's in real time what people are searching right now to find your business. Those are keywords you can use on all your posts, social, Google business profile, even your videos in YouTube, okay? But your Google business profile, if you do not have one, see how prominent it is here? The superpower of your Google business profile is local marketing and local SEO. It is built for local. Do not try to dilute it. Now, when I say dilute it, by trying to say that you're nationwide or you're worldwide, even though you may be, remember the strength of this tool. Use other tools for the nationwide and worldwide. This is a local tool. And again, I cover that more in depth in our other webinar, which I'm happy to do, Gray and Catherine, which is get your local business, get your business found on Google Search and Maps, okay? So let me see here. There we go. Some of the things a website needs to have, though, going back to website design and website structure, it has to have a fast load time. If your website does not load in 4 seconds or less on a mobile device, you will lose over half, 53% of your traffic. So you could be working your butt off on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, getting traffic to come to your site. And if it takes more than 4 seconds on a mobile device to load, you'll lose 53%, over half. And then for every second after that, you'll lose another 10%. So understand fast load time is key. If you do not have fast load time, then you need to look and see what's slowing down your site and fix that. Understand one of the tools I love the best is Shopify because it's really simple for new businesses coming into e-commerce, but I also understand that some of the Shopify themes, so this is the background and the look of the site, can take 3.8 seconds to load. 3.8. And then you still have to add content, videos, maybe pictures of your product, any of that, which will all slow down your site. So do keep that in mind. It also has to be useful content. It needs to be helpful to the user. Yes, we know about search engine optimization, which makes sure the search engine sees this, but do know that Google and all the other search engines are putting a heavy, heavy weight on value, on people being able to use your site. So user experience is more important than just some keywords thrown together, because that doesn't work anymore. And then also text links, because this helps you understand what your site's doing. None of us want to look at a long old page of text on this 4.5-inch screen. We want it to be broken up so I can click on each link and let you know by my click, by my action, I'll let you know what I want to see in your site. We need to have that kind of feedback loop with our customers and our visitors. So some of the characters that will help you with SEO, and we're not going to cover a whole SEO course here, but the high points are your pages, titles, and descriptions. This is really important because that's what the search engine is looking for. I was working with IT support companies during the whole lockdown, and they thought that the term that people were looking for when they were searching, the keyword was IT support or tech support. You know, they thought that was the word. But really what the word was, and understand it's not just words, it's phrases. We speak in full sentences. Voice search is real. Alexa and Google search do work. But what they were saying is, I hate my computer. That was the actual search term, the #1 search term for people looking for IT support. So for example, Lisa with ROIT, just, excuse me, what you can see here, excuse me, just a minute. Sorry about that. I get so excited. I took in a deep breath when I shouldn't have. Okay, so Lisa, for example, in your titles and descriptions, you might say something like, has your mantra been lately, I hate my computer? Do you start each day taking a cup of coffee and realizing, I hate my computer? Use those keywords because that's what people are searching for. And understand that Google's algorithm, and there is an algorithm there, relies on, excuse me, 3 things. #1 is relevancy. How relevant are you to what people are actually typing in? So if you're using the exact words they're using, now you're seen as relevant. That scores you high in a Google search, and you do want to show up high. Because if you're not showing up on the first page of Google, the chances that people are going to find you are slim to none. Understand that most, on average, people, when they're looking for something specifically, will not look past the first 30 searches of Google. So every search result page comes with 10 organic search results. If you say that 10, that's 3 pages, and that's if they're specifically looking for you. Some people are just trying to get an idea of things and they don't know what they want. They want answers to questions. They don't know that they're looking for you. They're only going to look at the first page of Google search. So the way you can show up there is with your titles and descriptions. It also has to do with information architecture. Think about how it's laid out. Are you making it easy for somebody? Let's say, Lisa, they come in and they're looking for, okay, I hate my computer. What are some of the things that I can do or that will have made me hate my computer? So maybe you're going to take them to a checklist. So your architecture of your site is taking them directly to that checklist because they want to give you feedback. They want support. Get the specific support from them and get specific information and give them specific support by taking them to maybe a checklist that they fill out on your site. So you're really flowing them through the decision, and it really supports the credibility that you are an expert at what you do or your product that you provide. And then also do make sure it looks good on all browsers, because even though Google's the #1 search engine in the world, it's not the only one. There's a whole bunch. So take a look at it and take a look at it on a mobile device. Now, how you can do that is you can use Google Search Console. So you heard Brian shout out about that earlier. Google Search Console is another tool because Google Analytics lets you know how people actually shop your site. Google Search Console tells you how healthy your site is and how the search engine sees your site. So for example, If your site isn't mobile friendly or mobile responsive, there's nothing in the world that you can do to show up in a first page of a Google search, because mobile responsiveness is important to the algorithm. And if you don't have that, you'll be penalized and show up later in search. So that's key, and you need to know that. It's also important to know that if your site isn't secure, if you don't have the HTTPS, so it's not secure, showing that you're a credible, secure site, that will also be penalized, and you will not show up in the first page of a Google search. So it's really important for you to know how the search engine sees you, because that's what people are using to find your product, service, or solution. You'll go here to Search Console, and again, you'll walk through. But I did mention analytics first, because that's most important. When you get analytics in there, then analytics has already confirmed your information. When you put Google Search Console in, it will automatically approve that. You won't have to go through all of that process anymore, because Google Analytics has already verified you're the owner. Google Search Console will realize that. So I always like to start with analytics first. Then also, you can get there from your phone, as you can see here, and it will let you know what's happening. And whenever I'm pushing out a site change, I will automatically request indexing, because even though Googlebot is really good at finding things on a site and finding a new site, I'm a small business owner. I don't have time for that. It's important to get cash flow to the business right away. So I want to push it out and ensure that Google can see this. A lot of people think that Google is the World Wide Web, but it is not. It's the biggest library in the World Wide Web. And it is our responsibility as owners to enter our book. So if our website is our book and somebody's searching for a page or a paragraph on the last page of a book that we have, that's our website. They're searching for information from our website. It's our responsibility to enter that website in the library. This is where you enter it, g.co/search console. That's where you enter it. And I always know when people don't know how to do this, because, oh, wonderful, Lisa, I'm glad it's helpful. I'm always surprised when people don't know how to do this, or not surprised, sad more than anything, because I know they don't know it. And I'll hear them say things like, why can't Google see me? Why isn't my site indexing? Or I don't even show up in search? Or why did they see this old thing? Or I didn't even know that this was showing to the public. Why is that page showing? They don't realize that they can go in and say, don't look at this page. That's an old site. Show this. Here's my new site. Here's the new layout. You have all of that control. And this is how you communicate with Google, is through the Search Console. So that's the door to the library. And you do want to make sure you're categorized and cataloged in that library. Googlebot is amazing, but I don't like to rely just on that. Now, one thing you can also do is use Chrome. So Chrome, Google Chrome, you know, is a browser, but it is a great marketer's tool. All of us who are marketers love Chrome because of the insights that you get. And one of the insights you can get is if you go to Chrome Inspector, so you go to your site, and as you hover over your site, you right click. When you right click, this drop down menu will appear, and you will see second to the last there is the word inspect. Click on inspect, and then all of this gibberish comes up. And we don't care about the gibberish unless you're into coding. But what I care about is right up here, I will click on these two icons that look like a little phone and maybe an iPad or tablet. And it will let me know I can see on any device, be it a Galaxy, iPad, be it T-Mobile, you know, whatever it is, whatever the device, I can see exactly what it looks like in the mobile experience. So I can confirm that my site is mobile responsive as well as mobile friendly. Okay, so you could do that too. Yes, analytics needs to be first, Kathy, because I mean, you can put Google Search Console first, but now you're going to have to go through the whole verification process that you'll do with Google Analytics. I like to save my time, so I go for Google Analytics first is what I recommend, because every tool that comes in after that really does confirm through Analytics. Analytics kind of does all that heavy lifting, and now the other tools will just pile right on top of it easily because they recognize Analytics. Okay. All right, a great website's also convenient. We've got to make this easy, easy, easy for people to be able to shop and be able to work through our site. Let me see, I see a question here. Yes, you do need to see why the code's not being read, because if nothing's coming across, then there's a disconnect somewhere. So do know that, again, we want to make sure that it's convenient, and part of the convenience is organizing what happens on our site. So we do want to know, is it responsive? Mobile, remember what I said about the importance of that. But also, is it easy to make a payment? I've been on a lot of websites where once you put something in your shopping cart and you want to continue shopping, now you have to back all the way out because it doesn't give you the opportunity to continue shopping. Well, that's super irritating. I've also been on a site and watched it in Google Analytics as people got to a page and then they just left, they just bounced off their site. And what we realized is that there was a pop-up coming across on mobile that the X was too big for the screen. So because of that, they couldn't X out of it. So they left. It's important for you to know that, and also personalized recommendations. If you can do that and say, hey, you downloaded this and you watched this video, this could be helpful. Remember, you're the expert. You can help them through any pitfalls or anything that they need in their decision journey. And if you show them that and help lead them that way and teach them, they will rely on you and step over dollars when it's time to be able to make that decision. If you don't do this, if you're just like everybody else, you become a commodity, and commodities all compete just on price alone. So what other convenient items do you have? Do you offer that in your website too? So we talked about responsive design, right? We talked about how it's important when people have to pinch and zoom and swipe side to side to be able to read your device on a or your site on a mobile device, then that is an issue for them. Do make sure you take a look at that to see if that's something that your people that are visiting your site struggling with. Is it responsive? Is it helpful to them? Also, in looking at your payment process, is it simple? Do you provide them all the different tools that they want to use to be able to pay? Or do you limit that to them? So how convenient and easy it is how easy is it for people to buy from you? And then also, are there recommendations? Because again, you know your product, you know your service better than anybody else. What will help me get to this goal? Know what your customers' goals are, and then how can you help them and serve them with what you have? So when you look at convenience, you could be talking about and sharing with them curbside pickup and maybe how they can use your mobile site to be able to make curbside pickup easy and seamless. It could be that you have fast, quick delivery and shipping, and you're giving them that information. I love utilizing in e-commerce tools like AfterShip because it'll let you know, hey, we're loading your site, your product right now. It's coming. It's on the truck. It's about to come here. It's on the way. It's almost like watching Santa Claus, you know, a Santa Claus tracking, delivering your product, which makes people feel really like they're comfortable that you're really being able to deliver the product and service, so they see you as a provider. And it also helps their comfort level if they had a little bit of buyer's remorse. You can even in those instances say, you know what, you're going to get this, and in 10 days you're going to want this, so we'll give you a 10% discount or free shipping if you buy this now. So you can do upsells also in there. And then you can also do virtual consultations. So let's say you don't sell any of this, but maybe you help and work with volunteers and you want to help them engage their friends and family, do a little friend raising. So you could do a virtual consultation, or maybe you want to talk to them and you provide something that's a service. And so you do want to have that conversation of qualifying or getting to know them or understanding their needs virtually too. Oh yes, it's like Christmas is coming, and we all get excited when we see something on its way because we feel that confirmation and we feel a part of what's happening. So absolutely, Pam. Now, remember what I said about site speed? 4 seconds or less, you'll lose 53%. This is a free tool by Google. You go to g.co/testmysite, g.co/testmysite. It will let you know how fast or how slow your site is on a mobile device. But not only that, it will tell you what's slowing down your site. Often the culprit is a video or a large photo. We'll put a large photo that is great for print publication, but not great for websites. So it has too much of a high resolution or dots per inch. It's too much storage, takes too much time to load, but this will let you know exactly what's happening here. And it'll also let you know how to fix it, okay? So not only will it let you know what's slowing it down, how to fix it, it can also give you feedback if it was a good experience or anything just kind of left your customers hanging too. It'll go through all of that in the report. So that's what I love about using these free tools, because most people don't know about them. And then you heard me talk about organized as well. Oh, yes, so the test slide, absolutely. There we go. Oops, back one more. There you go. So if you want to take that, do know that, again, if you want a copy of today's slides, because I know we're getting to about 5 minutes before we're at the top of the hour. And if you want a copy of today's slides, just make sure you've commented in the question box, because the system will pull that and automatically send it when the video renders sometime tomorrow. Okay, so don't feel like I've forgotten you. If you don't get it by tomorrow morning, it's just because it's still rendering. Okay. All right, so we talked about organization too. Your information architecture, that IA, is how you lay things out, because you might have a product and different versions like Trade Street Jam did of jam, hot sauce, and gift cards. If I'm going in looking for gift cards, I don't want to spend time looking at the jam because I don't know what kind of jam she likes. I'm just going to get her a gift card, okay? So when you organize your site, make sure it's clear and concise, okay? And don't worry about putting your email address. The system actually picks up the email address you registered with, and it will send it there as long as you've commented in the question box. Also, you can put the pages to make it easy for people to navigate. If you've got specials or new releases, you can highlight those too by putting that at the very top. We call that above the fold. You put the most important things. Back in the day of newspapers, that's where you would put everything, above the fold, when it was folded in half. Above the fold for a website is before you have to scroll for the first time. So when you first land on a website, that's above the fold. Take a look at what they see in a 4.5-inch screen. You also do need to know how people shop. What can help you get there is Google Analytics. Can show you how they shop and what they look at and organize this, but you can start with some basics like your home page, maybe the team, about, and then how to contact, because we always want to know how to contact people if we run into any trouble. Now, one of the tools that I love also that is an unsung hero that people don't realize is Google Trends. This is one of my favorite tools. I'm not going to go into details much here, but if you don't know how to look for keywords, you don't understand about what keywords are trending, what's important in your area around your industry, or if you want to know the keywords that people are searching and finding your competitors, Google Trends is a free tool, and I use this all the time. In fact, every single day I look at this because it's really important to match and be relevant to what people are searching for. So it can help you either regionally, you can look at it time-based, you can search and see what people and what's trending on YouTube as well, or what people are searching for and exactly the words in maybe your area too. For me, I like to look at competitors because I always want some of those share of eyeballs looking this way, right? And then of course, it needs to be trustworthy too. So I know I'm sharing a lot of information with you, but again, trustworthy is secure. So you do have to have that secure lock, that SSL certificate. You usually get that from your hosting company. And then of course have secure payments, something like Shop Pay, Amazon Pay, PayPal, these Google Pay, they are definitely credible sources or credible processors that people feel comfortable with. And those are good ones to have on your site. You don't want something random where they don't feel comfortable leaving their credit card information in, that they don't, you don't want them to feel like they could be stolen or it's not the right site, right? So your business reviews, this is key. Again, we talk about that quite a bit in our webinar, Reach Customers Online. I talked to you about how you can be up to date on reviews, how to respond to reviews. It's important for you to do that because these are your customers talking to you and giving you feedback. Showing ratings is also very important. 60 stars, 65 gold stars shows you high, you get a lot of visibility. So you want to focus on getting 60, which is why I encourage you to use Google Business Profile to get to the 60. It's kind of being that big fish in a small pond, and don't start with nationwide right away. You really got to nail it before you scale it. And then contact info, because a lot of places, even when you connect your Instagram shop, your Pinterest shop, and now even the TikTok marketplace and shop, you have to have contact information showing on your site because it shows you're a credible business. So your next steps, we've covered quite a bit, and I am 2 minutes before time. Again, is to know what the goal is of your site. Smart test that, understand your analytics, optimize what works for your site using these free tools. Make sure it's search friendly. Know how the actual search engine sees you. No matter what search engine, test your site to really know if it's convenient and loading, because that's a lot of things that a lot of the reason people don't shop the site or stay with the site is because it takes a long time to load. Understand the keywords and how to organize your site by looking at Google Trends and really matching what people are needing, and then make sure your site is trustworthy. Okay, so we've covered a whole lot. Now, I always end with free tools, so let me run through those real quick, and then I'm going to go to Q&A. But do understand, if you download this app on either the App Store or Google Play Store, depending on your device, it has a lot of pre-made lesson plans in here to help walk you through. This is 100% free, and it's updated regularly. I have all my degrees are in marketing and my experience, and yet I utilize this quite a bit to stay up to date. Okay? And then, of course, you can join us on air. Every quarter, we have new topics that are very relevant and pertinent to today and right now, and we cover that on air too. And then also, If you go to the site, you can see all of the training that your wonderful Google partner who invited you can assist you with today. They can assist you further down the line or even bring me back again, and we're happy to teach you and train you, okay? All right, let me go through the questions here real quick. Let's see. And if you need to go, let me just give a shout out again to Kathy. Let me see here, hold on, oops. Clicked on the wrong thing. To Catherine with Jamestown Regional Entrepreneur Center, and to Gray with New Mexico Out Business Alliance. Reach out to them as Google partners to help and support you. We are at time, so I want to say thank you, and I appreciate our Google partners in each of you. Give yourself some grace and be able to apply what you learned today. Understand that there's a saying out there, which applied knowledge is power. It's not, it's applied knowledge. So knowledge is not powerful until it's applied. And my friend Jo says it best when she said, the tomato is, knowledge is knowing the tomato is a fruit. Applied knowledge is not putting it in the fruit salad. But I'm going to hang here if you've got questions. But if you need to get down the road, I understand, and I want to thank you for your time today and spending some time here really looking at how you can improve your site. All right, let's see what questions are here. You're very welcome, Gray. Very excited to help you. Awesome. Lorick Ranch Home Furnishings. Please send. Oh, I absolutely will. Don't worry. You'll get it to you, Dr. Carey. Kathy, very, very helpful. Yes, it was a lot of information, And this actually is, you know, again, that's why I want you to have the recording, because you might need to slow me down and speed me up, because it is a lot that I covered. And this is just half of the Google tools you have available to you free through your Gmail account or Google account. One user, so we will see. Okay, perfect, Kathy, perfect. You're very welcome, Louie. So good to see you again. Happy to have Tailwind Designs here. All right, any questions before we jump off together as a group that you'd like me to answer? And if you asked one earlier and I didn't remember it, it's because it doesn't scroll. It could have scrolled up, I'm sorry, past all the comments. I don't want to scroll back, so let me make sure I covered it. If not, oh, here, perfect, Ruth, you remembered. All right, oh, wonderful, Ruth. So we said, if not part of your talk today, would you please give a link explaining turning both analytics Google to saying UA going away completely? If I'm not so Universal Analytics is going to go away, but it's still going to be a few years out. Google Analytics 4 is what Google is recommending to only work with, but let me see if I can bring up, hold on here. I'm going to bring up a demo so I can show you. All right. I'm going to show this on my screen in just a minute. Let me get this loaded. Okay. Trying to think. Okay, I'm going to go into, I've got to associate a Google account with this. Hold on just a second, Ruth. Excuse me. I have not forgotten you. I'm going to take you to my demo account and let's see if it'll do it. Okay. So Ruth, let me show you. Oh, and if you want to see what the Google library sees about you too, I'm happy to hang out and show you that too. So when you go to Google Analytics, I'm just going to refresh this. It's going to remember my credentials. Going to sign into Analytics. Here we go. So I can start measuring here. Let me make that bigger since I'm broadcasting. A little bit bigger. Okay, start measuring. Now I can put the new account name, Maria's site. So I click next here, and then I could put the property name. And I am going to choose the right time zone because I want my analytics to be correct. And then let me see there. Make sure I can see that. Click next. I can select this business information. So I'm just going to select a couple of things here just to get these out of the way. Okay, I'm going to accept this. Let's see, create. Oops, did I not accept? Okay, there we go. I clicked on the wrong thing. It's being covered by my camera. Okay, I'm just going to save this because I always want email from Google, especially if something's not working right. So now you can run through the setup assistant here. And when you run through the Setup Assistant, do know that, let me see, if you're creating a property, Ruth, see how you can create a property here, and this is automatically GA4. But if you want to have universal analytics, click here to show advanced options. And now you can create a universal analytics property. So it's not going to be going away till 2023. So you can still use both till then, which is what I'm doing, because I just want to make sure Google Analytics 4 is a little bit more robust. Oops, I forgot to stop recording.